Tonight I'm going to be traveling on one of the best night trains in all of Norway, traveling with SJ Nord in one of their private first-class sleeper compartments from Oslo all the way up to Trondheim. So come with me on this incredible journey as I show you everything from my spacious private compartment to the cozy dining car serving some classic Norwegian cuisine. Eventually we'll wake up to some incredible views in the morning as our train approaches Trondheim. This will be an amazing journey, so let's get going. Our journey begins at Oslo Central Station in the heart of the Norwegian capital. And while the modern day Central Station technically opened in 1980, it's located roughly on the same site as the former Oslo Eastern Railway Station, which has its roots all the way back to 1854. And while the Eastern Station building today has minimal functions as a railway station, it is still connected to the Central Station itself and houses a few retail outlets as well as restaurants. Because of this structure with a lot of old and new buildings, Oslo Central Station just feels like a bit of a mess with lots of different small concourses all just kinda being stitched together with time. However, the station is well equipped with all the expected amenities, including lots of shops and other retail outlets, although this late in the evening most of the non-food stores had already closed. The large departure board in the center of the modern station building reveals our train to Trondheim will tonight depart from track 15, which is on the southern side of the station. Oslo Central Station is sort of split into two parts. You have a few terminating platforms facing towards the east, as well as through platforms that connect to the Oslo Tunnel that goes right under the city center and continues west. Parked here we see one of Flytog's new high-speed trains to the airport. These trains have a pretty bad reputation, having entered service very delayed and faces continuous issues with build quality, something I've already covered in a separate video. But now back over to platform 15, where our train is now being pushed into the platform. Our train is being pushed into the platform fresh from the sidings not too far from the station. At the rear of the train there's 3 sleeper carriages offering private compartments. The sleeper carriages are then followed by what is just essentially a normal daytime intercity rake offering second class seats as well as premium seats and a cafe car. Our train tonight will be hauled by this EL18 locomotive, which is capable of 200 km per hour. Most of these locomotives have now been painted in a special livery promoting some of the landscapes you can see along various Norwegian railway lines. Norway's railway network uses a privatized franchising model, so our train tonight is actually operated by SJ Nord, a subsidiary of the Swedish National Railway Company. When boarding the sleeper here in Oslo, you must check in with the friendly staff on the platform. They will check your ticket and hand you your key to your room. But before we head on board the sleeper carriage and go find our private compartment, I went to have a quick look at the other travel options. The cheapest onboard option is just a regular seat, and while they are pretty good seats, I would not recommend them for the full overnight journey unless you are on a very tight budget. There is even a dedicated carriage for families which features a large kids play area, complete with a Brio railway set to build your own railway line while on the train. A step above the standard class seats, you'll find premium, offering a good middle ground with large reclining seats. And while these seats do offer a lot of recline, they don't go fully flat like the comparable Plus Night product on V's route to Bergen. Anyway, enough about other classes on board, let's go board our sleeper carriage. Heading down the corridor, I quickly find my room, and using the keycard I was provided at check-in, I can unlock it and get in. Every room sleeps up to 2 people, but I got this whole thing to myself tonight. Looks pretty cozy. Luggage can be stored on the shelf above the corridor or under the bed, but very bulky luggage may have to stand on the floor inside your cabin. We will take a closer look at all the onboard amenities and the cabin itself after departure, but now our train is ready to depart Oslo, which today is a minute behind schedule at 23:08. As I was traveling in the middle of the summer, it barely gets dark during the night here in Norway, and as we now slowly roll out of Oslo, let's take a closer look at the route we'll be traveling along tonight. We are on board train 405, which leaves from Oslo heading north on its 548 km long journey that's scheduled to take 7 hours and 33 minutes to reach Trondheim. This gives the train an average speed of 73 km per hour. As we roll into the night, I actually went to the cafe car for a late dinner, as I arrived in Oslo just before our sleeper's departure on the direct train from Malmö, which does not exactly have good food options on board. So not only was it really nice to see there actually is a cafe car on this short overnight train, but it's actually also open for business. There's actually a pretty good selection here of warm and cold dishes, as well as loads of snacks and other smaller bites. In addition to this, you'll find a cold counter with drinks as well as smaller sandwiches and other light bites. It's a really extensive selection, so there should be something for everyone. I grabbed myself a Norwegian orange soda and went back to the dining area, while the staff prepared me one of the most iconic things you can order in a Norwegian cafe car. While my food was being prepared, I just enjoyed watching the landscape being gently illuminated by the faint light still left here close to midnight. Our train makes a brief stop at Oslo Airport to pick up a few more passengers heading north. And as we depart from the airport, my dinner, or I guess midnight snack, is served. Norway's unofficial national dish might just be frozen pizza, and every Norwegian cafe car serves some sort of variation of it. Look, I'm not gonna pretend this was cheap or the best pizza I've ever had, but I was hungry and this filled that spot. And after that pleasant visit to the cafe car, let's go back to our cabin. I really do like night trains that give you the option to lock the cabin from the outside also. I'm generally not too worried about theft on a night train like this, but it is really nice for peace of mind. Just don't forget your keycard if you go out. Right, let's check out this cabin where we are spending the night. Every cabin sleeps 2 persons in a bunk bed layout, with the top bunk getting this handy harness to prevent falling out during the night. But as it's just me here tonight, there's no need for it. Over here you'll find a small sink which had pretty good water pressure. As the water from the sink is not drinkable, SJ also provides drinking water. By the sink you'll also find a button to control the cabin lights, and above this, kinda inconveniently placed, is also one of the cabin's power outlets. You will also find a more conveniently placed outlet by the fold-out table at the lower bunk. By the door between the 2 bunks is where you'll find the control panel for the temperature, as well as the light and the night light. A ladder is also provided to help access to the top bunk. Overall, I do quite like these Norwegian sleeper cabins. They are not too cramped and have good amenities, although the design and color choices do leave them feeling a little utilitarian. But one thing I couldn't figure out is what the hell this thing is, as it just kinda extends the bed but nothing more. Maybe it's to help the staff make up the top bunk, but I would love to know if you know in the comments below. As there's no toilets in the cabin, this is instead shared at the end of the corridor. The toilets themselves were pretty basic, but they were fully functional and were kept clean throughout the journey. There was plenty of paper towels stocked, and the water was working without issue, so no complaints from here. And with that, it's finally time to catch some sleep. The pillow and bedding seems to be comfortable and of good quality, so it should make for a great night of sleep. I wake up a little before 6 AM to my alarm clock, as I did not want to miss some of the beautiful scenery on approach to Trondheim. We are now approaching Støren station, where we have a little bit of a wait for an oncoming local train. As with most railways in Norway, as soon as you're outside Oslo, double track becomes a rare sight. Honestly, I had a pretty good night on board. The beds are very comfortable and the carriages ride smoothly and quietly. It's honestly a bit of a shame that sleeper trains in Norway in general are pretty short. There's barely enough time to get enough rest and also enjoy the journey. In the end, I think I managed to sleep around 5.5 hours, which was not due to the actual onboard comfort but just the short journey time. The only downside to the cabins is that the windows are really small, which really is a shame in such a picturesque country like Norway. But luckily, there is a lot more window real estate in the corridor, where you can take advantage of one of the fold-down seats. And wow, what a stunning morning it's shaping up to be here, with the landscape being beautifully illuminated by the morning sun. We make our last stop before Trondheim here in Heimdal, a town just on the outskirts of the Trondheim urban area, and once again we have to wait for an oncoming train due to our train being a little early and of course single track. What an enjoyable ride this has been. A comfortable sleeping cabin, great amenities and a beautiful morning to welcome us to Trondheim. The only thing that's left to mention before we arrive in just a couple of minutes is tickets. A private cabin between Oslo and Trondheim starts from just under 1600 Norwegian kroner, and while it's not exactly cheap, I also don't think it's that unreasonable, given a decent hotel in either Oslo or Trondheim will quickly also approach 1000 kroner for a night. Our train pulls into Trondheim Central Station at 06:34, 6 minutes ahead of schedule, after what has been a comfortable and enjoyable journey with SJ Nord. So, what did you think about SJ Nord, and would you like to try a Norwegian sleeper train? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me on this trip. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as I try to post a new one every Sunday. You can also give the channel a little extra support by becoming a member. For just a couple of euros every month, you get access to exclusive travel updates as well as early access to all my videos. And if you want to continue the journey just like I did, watch this video on Norway's incredible Norland Railway to the Arctic Circle by clicking the card on screen now. Thanks for watching.